Hey guys, welcome to the Wedding Reporter podcast. I'm so excited to talk to this next guest. This is Jenna Cox, and the topic today is should we do premarital counseling? And I think you might know what the answer is, but Jenna is here to share a little bit more insight with her expertise as a counselor. She is a licensed professional counselor and nationally certified counselor for individuals and couples therapy based in Franklin, Tennessee. She is the founder of the US Project, a modern one-day premarital workshop that helps couples build connection, communication, and conflict repair skills before saying I do. Jenna also owns Cool Springs Neurofeedback, where she integrates brain based healing with trauma informed therapy. When she's not working with clients or creating programs that blend depth with real life humor, you can find her running a household of 4 kids, a dog, and a husband she's been married to for 19 years. And they're still learning new things about each other all the time, which keeps her job very real. So, welcome, Jenna.
Hello. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. That's so real.
Yeah, it
Excuse
really is.
Yeah.
So real.
Nonstop.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And side note, our kids go to school together. And so
Big
we've
buddies.
known each other for a while. I know her daughter and my son are like besties, and
Yeah.
they've been in class the past 2 years. And so
She's so
it's just
sad.
fun to like
Yeah. She's so sad.
connect. And now I know we're so sad they're not together, but we'll still see each other around. But it's really fun to connect on this level and really talk more about weddings and what you do to help couples prepare for that big day. So let's chat premarital counseling.
Yeah.
Give us the goods. Like, let's do a brief description. How many sessions should people do? Give us the lowdown.
Yeah. I think a lot of first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of podcasts, so you're my guinea
Yeah.
pig. I think this might be my second one I've
Awesome.
ever done. So
Love it.
Premarital counseling is funny because it's less of a norm now than it was even when I got married almost 20 years ago, which makes me sound very, very old.
Wow.
I'm
Amazing.
25, so I don't know how I've been married for 20 years.
Right? I know.
Um,
Exactly. You got married when you were so
but
young.
it was almost a requirement. It used to be a requirement, because ordained pastors used to be the only ones who could do marriage or perform a marriage ceremony. They would require it. But it's just not as much of the norm now. But I would say, most people will do like 6 to 8 sessions. It kind of depends on who's leading the program or the course. But they're typically covering things, everything from communication to conflict repair, money, sex, values, roles, things like that, to help clients or couples feel prepared for marriage and what's ahead of them. So it's kind of the lowdown on what premarital counseling is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And maybe, I mean, this is the way I see it, but maybe it'll bring up some topics for discussion that
For
maybe
sure.
you hadn't discussed before as a couple that are very important before you head into a marriage, too. So I think that's
Absolutely. Yeah. I
important as
mean, I
well.
say to my clients all the time, I feel, intentionality is just the most important thing in relationships, being proactive as opposed to reactive. And that's the purpose of it, is to help you feel more prepared going into marriage, so that it's you're not just being led by an emotion. It's so easy when you're in love and you're excited to just let love be the leader of all of our actions and behavior. And I think naturally that's just what happens. But the truth is, anyone who's been married any minutes knows that relationships can be really hard. And there's things that you aren't prepared for, that you don't plan for, that you don't expect to happen. And, with the divorce rate so high, it's like, I would rather people be prepared with appropriate expectations and intentionality in their relationships than be shuffling on the back end and then just quit when it gets hard. Because relationships, in 20 years, my husband and I have not had a perfect relationship. I often, this is a joke, what I'm going to say, but I joke that I've been through everything minus murder, which is, that will not
Yeah.
happen. But we pretty much have. I mean, it's a joke, but there's also a lot of reality in it. Like, marriage and relationships are just hard. So, and that's kind of what even drove me to be a therapist. Is I had this aha moment one day that I said, nobody teaches you how to navigate this stuff, and that was kind of like, okay, I'll do it. Let's go.
Wow. Yeah. And such great work that you're doing because so many couples really need that. And like you said, to be proactive about it, like before you get married and to really dive deeper, I think is so important because, yeah, you don't want to get to a point in your marriage where all of a sudden you're like, okay, we tried, we're done, and just like
Sure.
throwing the towel right away because like there's definitely different ways to like navigate things. And like you said, you guys have been through so much. Like my husband and I have been married for 14 years now. We've been through so much. It's like, you don't foresee so much coming in those days,
Right.
like in your engagement. You just don't know what life is going to
Right.
throw at you. So, preparing for those, being able to have the tools in your toolbox to be able
Absolutely.
to work through all of that in a marriage is so important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's
I always
dive
say
in.
it's not about fixing anything. If you're going to
Right.
premarital counseling or any kind of counseling just to fix something, then
Hmm.
yikes. But if you're going to build skill, right? If you look at it like there's always something I can learn, there's always something I can be better at. I can own my side of the road and allow you the space to own yours, and together we can build within ourselves while we're also building interpersonally. Super important.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think that's a huge purpose of
Mhm.
premarital counseling
Absolutely.
too. I guess we could dive into that. Like maybe share like the purpose and do you know any like stats about like couples who do premarital counseling versus couples who don't
Yeah,
or anything
absolutely.
like that?
Yeah, so there's different types of premarital counseling. You can do it individually, just as the couple. You can do it in groups. Some, like churches, I believe, and individual therapists will kind of run it in small groups. You can do workshops. Like, I kind of do all of these. I've done all of these. An intensive, where, an intensive would be like an all day thing. And usually intensives are just one couple, whereas a workshop would be multiple couples. So there's lots of different formats, and there's also different ways to quote unquote administer it. So, a lot of churches will do it, a lot of individual therapists will do it as well. And yeah, so as far as stats go, this is the really like ooey gooey, makes me feel great inside part. It is unfortunately true that 50% of marriages end in divorce. I didn't make that stat up. You can go Google it, it's there. But it's also true that each consecutive marriage after that has a 10% higher probability that it will also end in divorce. So second marriages are 60%, third marriages are 70%. So it just kind of gets more depressing as you go. And that kind of, for me, always comes back to the intentionality. Like, how intentional are we being in being proactive of, some people don't like to look at it like counseling, but if you look at it like mentorship, where there's someone who's walked this road longer and farther than I have, and there's always something I can gain, then it kind of changes the perspective that you're gaining. As far as premarital goes, it I believe it's like 30% is what our stats say about 30% higher chance of a successful marriage if you do premarital.
That's
A lot
great.
of times I'll see couples in my office who only come to counseling when they've exhausted all of their other efforts, when they are at the brink of divorce, when they are resentful and something big has happened. Conflict is absolutely unmanageable. Yeah, another true statistic is, this isn't actually a number statistic, but we are not guaranteed happiness or joy in our relationships. We work for that. Happiness and joy and even love are emotions. And in the same way that not everything in your life brings you happiness, it's an emotion, it comes and goes. And the same is true for anger and sadness and fear. Those are things that come in and come out. But the one thing that you are guaranteed is conflict. That's kind of the basis of which I built my practice on, is like, look, this is inevitable. You are guaranteed to have conflict in your relationship. So if it's a guarantee, and we know that we come from different backgrounds with different filters, with different experiences, with different
Mhm.
developmental stuff, then it should make sense that we learn how to navigate it, because we're gonna have it. And so, that's kind of the purpose of premarital. It's not like we dive into every nook and cranny of my individual life, but this is giving you skills and tools so that when it comes up, because it will, that you at least have, like, one, we know this is going to come up. I remember when we sat down with the person who did our premarital almost, 20 years ago, he said, in the first month, you will probably deal with money and sex and family issues. And I think you might have said a couple other things. And we go, not us. We're just so
Right.
excited to be married.
Right.
There's no way.
You always think you're the anomaly, right?
No way that we would have sex issues. There's no way that we would have money issues or family issues. Like, look at our families. They're awesome. And sure enough, in the first month after our marriage or after we got married, every single one of those things. And we were like, oh my gosh, we felt so, even though he told us that this was going to happen, we still kind of felt blindsided by it. And so that was kind of why, for me, it was like, oh, yeah, no, he was right. So
Yeah.
helping like break that down at a really practical level for couples has always been really important to me. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of got off subject, but
No,
it's
that was also great. And I think you're right too, because like when you're engaged, you're just in this like wedded bliss state where
sure.
it's almost like you're wearing these rose-colored glasses and you're like planning your wedding. And yes, wedding planning is definitely very stressful. And I'm sure a lot of different emotions and things come up and conflicts come from that. But for the most part, I feel like most couples are just in this state of like, we're going to get married and everything, everything will be so great once we're married. And like, I think that is also such a harmful thing to think as well, because I think in a way, premarital can kind of like bring you a little bit more down to reality and like, for a second, maybe take those glasses off for a
Sure.
minute and like, let's literally think about your whole life ahead of this
For sure.
rather than just like the one day. And that's like what I love. I mean, I love talking about weddings, but like I
Yeah.
love advocating too that it's not just one day, it's like your whole life
Right.
together.
Yeah, it's preparing for the marriage and not just the day. And I know that's kind of a
Right.
somewhat of a cliche saying, but it's not wrong either. I'd rather
Hmm.
be prepared than, I just had a couple in here earlier this morning and we were talking about, how they shuffle on the back end to try to, fix things and like what would it look like to be like two steps ahead, to know, like to be able to own what's going on within myself and the other part of the relationship, like they be able to own the part of their self and so that we can say like, hey, this isn't productive, this isn't going where I'm not getting across the thing I'm trying to say, we need to take a break. Like having those tools to understand like it's okay to not have all the answers, it's okay to be wrong, it's okay to fail at things, but create like a safety within the relationship for that to happen.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that's so important. And yeah, such good work that you're able to do and work through with couples as well. It's really awesome. All right, little bit of a random question. So,
Okay.
is it true that you can get a discount on your marriage license in Tennessee or other states if you participate in premarital counseling?
Yes, that is true. I don't know what it is in other states. I'm sure they honor something similar to what Tennessee does. Um, Tennessee offers I believe it's a $60 discount on a marriage
Nice.
license fee. I want to say, I remember when I got married, it was like $100. And now I think I read recently it's like 150 to maybe $200. So you can get a $60 discount on your marriage license if you complete a 4-hour program. So it has to be by a licensed professional, someone who holds a license in the state that they practice. So for me, I am licensed in the state of Tennessee, LPC, licensed professional counselor, NCC, nationally certified counselor. So I hold that license in the state. And then whether they're in my office or it's at a workshop like the one we're going to talk about here in a minute, I will give them a notarized copy of a certificate of completion. They can take that with them to the courthouse and get that discount. So, it's not much, but it definitely, is an incentive to complete.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that is huge. Is there like a certain amount of sessions that you need to do in order to qualify for that? Or is
You
it like
have to
certain
complete at least
programs that?
4 hours.
Okay,
So,
4 hours.
it
Okay.
depends on, of course, like how the person that's administering it, how they have it set up. So if it was individual couple sessions, then you'd have to complete however they lay that out, whether it's 4 individual sessions or maybe 2 2-hour sessions.
Okay.
But that's what the counselor would have to sign off on. But yeah.
Okay. Very cool. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
All the more reason to
For
invest in
sure.
premarital counseling. Definitely.
So,
All right. So let's chat about this. You have a workshop coming up.
ooh, yeah.
Um, Maybe tell us what it's about, and then maybe we can dive into like how you came up with this concept.
Yeah. Okay. So the workshop I'm going to do is on October 4th, and it's here it's just outside of Nashville at a really beautiful venue that a friend of mine has started. And I'll talk about that in a second. But it's called the US Project. And the reason I came up with it is because I hadn't found a program or modality that felt both modern and applicable, right? It kind of felt like, sure, we have these big topics of like it's important to communicate and it's important to, have sex and important to like control your money and make sure that you understand. But it just kind of felt like it was lacking in the depth that is needed to understand, the things that both of us bring in to the relationship and the ideals that we bring into the relationships. There is one really big program that most people refer to, and it's also faith based is the other one, and I think that can be a deterrent for some people when it's just faith based and only administered usually within churches. And so that was kind of the inspiration for creating this. And the other inspiration was that I had several clients who that I've seen forever, that I've seen them throughout college and post college and navigating adult world, and here they are now entering their early 30s, late 20s, and they're wanting to, they're finding their partners and their mates and wanting to be prepared for the relationship after the wedding. And that's where I kind of go, well, I don't feel like that there's anything out there that I would want to use. I don't know what that sounds like, but I thought I'll just
Yeah.
create what I think is important, which is, to me, it's always more about like understanding conflict styles and conflict resolution and understanding the self that I bring to the table and being able to create safety within myself and create a safety within the relationship so that I can show up and we can actually find resolve. So that's kind of
Mhm.
why I created the US Project. This is my first one, and I'm super excited about it. I've got lots of fun things in the works, but yeah, that's kind of how I came up with it. I thought I
Yeah,
haven't seen
that's
anything
so
like
cool.
this, and let's give it a go. Is was
Oh yeah.
very much the innovator brain type, where like, oh, this could be so awesome, and such camaraderie with people in the same age range who are in the same stage of life, and make it fun and engaging, and so that people leave with a really good taste in their mouth, both for feeling prepared with their relationship, but also like how great counseling and therapy can be in helping you kind of move the needle a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe tell us a little bit more about the venue that you're hosting it at.
So actually, I have some friends of mine that I used to go to church with a long time ago, and they are both licensed professional counselors. The husband had retired just this last year. They're probably, they've been in it longer than I have, and I've just always stayed in touch with them. And they wanted to create a venue that they could both do everything from counseling intensives and workshops. And they bought some land. I mean, this is several years in the making, and it's called Wandering Brook Venue. It's just
Cool.
outside of Nashville, about 45 minutes outside of Nashville, like heading towards Knoxville. Um, and they created this just gorgeous venue, and meeting hall sounds so, that's not a good word for it, but
Yeah, event space
event
kind of.
space. Thank you. That's much
Yeah.
better than meeting hall. That sounds very like,
Yeah, for sure.
and they've got the beautiful rolling hills of Tennessee, and barns and animals and lakes, and
That's cool.
they custom build like backdrops for brides so that they can
Oh,
just have the wedding
fun.
of their. It's just gorgeous. And so
Yeah.
when I came up with this idea, I thought, well, where could I have it that would be mutually beneficial to everyone, but also just kind of makes sense. And so I called, his name's Gary, and he was like, absolutely, come on out whenever you want. And I was like, whoa, that was much easier than I thought it was going to be. So
That's cool.
everything just kind of fell together, and I'm excited to take people out. We're working in kind of just a tour of the land so that you can see where everything is. And I think Gary's also offering a discount if someone wants to from the event, if someone wants to book the venue. So not
Oh,
for
very
sure
cool.
not the reason to have it there, but it is a great incentive if you love it and you're still looking to book a place for your wedding.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love that partnership. I think
Yeah,
that's really cool, especially like given your backgrounds and history and everything. And
yeah,
then, yeah, being able to partner on something like this and like
totally.
kind of a new branch of your business that you're building, which
Yeah.
is awesome. So, okay, so maybe tell us a little bit more about the workshop. Like, what can people expect? Is it like group sessions? Is it like talks? Is it a little bit of both?
Yes. Yes, and yes. It is a little bit of all the things, everything from group work to it's of course led by me, licensed professional counselor, and it covers the essentials of real life partnership, right? So everything from how to fight well, how to stay emotionally and physically connected, how to handle transitions, how to make marriage feel like a team effort and not just like you're flying solo. And we will definitely cover the traditional topics that are covered in premarital, from like money and sex and value system and things like that. But we cover it in the context of how all of these other things are affected. So yeah, I definitely know that people will leave feeling equipped. I always tell my individual clients, I can teach you every possible thing under the sun. I can give you every tool in my tool belt. But the second you walk out my door, it is your responsibility. And my goal for the workshop is that people would feel inspired to do the work.
Hmm.
And because of the atmosphere that I'm hoping to create, just with like fun and engagement with each other and with other people, that it'll kind of go like, hey, that was not as bad as I anticipated. Because I think sometimes
Right.
we go begrudgingly into things like that, where we go
Hmm.
like, okay, it's something I got to do. I don't want that. I want you to feel excited and inspired to come, and it feels applicable. Like, to me, that's the most important thing, of where you can see yourself in the work and the work can find it.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think like, when you're wedding planning, you're spending so much money on all of these other things, your flowers, your venue, your, this and that, your wedding planner. But really, like, those are for the day. And it's like, what is the one thing that you're investing in for the future?
Absolutely.
Like, yes, your photos last into the future. You have those to look back on, but like, relationship wise, I think investing in something like this is so worthwhile because it is opening up that toolkit. It's really, something that will stick with
Mhm.
you throughout
Yeah,
your marriage and something that you can use on a day to day basis that's truly lasting. So I think it's so cool that you're putting this together.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, we're not going to do any of those like awkward icebreakers or role
Yeah.
plays, or it's just like practical tools, honest conversations, great experience. We're going to provide lunch and then some goodie bags. There's definitely cost
Nice.
that's involved in it, but we want to make it as accessible as possible. And with that $60 discount as well, it's like girl math, like I'm
Right? I
saving.
know. You're like, well, I spend a little here, save a little here. It all works out, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And of course, you'll get
Yeah.
that. So
Perfect.
yeah, it's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
Have a,
That's
or have a,
great. Yeah. Okay. So plug for us like the date
yes.
and maybe city where we know it's Wandering Brook and like time, all that stuff,
Yeah.
details.
Yeah. So it is October 4th. I think we're going to start about 9:30, or, have people come in around 9:30. We'll probably start around 10. And we'll have coffee and snacks and goodies and stuff. And then we'll probably go, I say that we're going to go until like 3:30 or 4, but we're working in lots of breaks. It's not like you're just sitting down listening to a workshop that whole time. We're getting
Right.
a tour of the property. You have lunch, and again, more snacks. I always feel like if there's snacks
Yeah.
there, I'm incentivized. Like, that's an incentive
Oh,
enough.
yeah.
You're going to give me a snack? Absolutely. I'll be there.
Yes.
And it is in, like I said, it's about 45 minutes outside of Nashville. So yes, it
Mm-hmm.
will be a trek. I actually, when I set the date, I was like, oh my gosh, a Saturday in Tennessee when college football is on. What do I do? Will that be a deterrent for people? And I thought, well, maybe I'll put some games up during lunch on the TV.
Yeah.
And I might still do that. TBD. I'm a big college football fan too, but spots are limited.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to feel so big that you don't feel like you have that personal touch. I mean, technically, Wandering Brook has great capabilities both inside and out. It'll be gorgeous that time of year, in
Mm-hmm.
October. But I believe the covered event space can hold like 150. Of course, they have property. They have like 100 acres or something like that. So But I think we're going to have a total of 20 to 25 couples, which is still a good amount of people.
Yeah.
Registration is going to close at the end of September, just to make sure that I get all my ducks in a row with food, and we'll have a little menu that they get to choose from for lunch. So yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Nice.
I also work with couples individually and virtually in the state of Tennessee. I run other workshops and therapy groups throughout the year. My goal is always to help couples be just the most prepared. And a statement that I say all the time is just be so for real with yourself, because things are hard. It's not always, you're not always going to be prepared. You're not always going to know the right answers, but showing up with intentionality and with a team mindset, where it's like, look, I said something that I shouldn't have said, or I said it in a way that was rude or something like that. But I'm responsible both for my intent and my impact, and we can make fast repair. Conflict doesn't have to look messy to be productive. In fact, like this couple I had in earlier today, like, can you imagine someone saying like, hey, you said this thing and it really hurt me. And you go, oh my gosh, babe, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry that I hurt you. And the other one goes, thanks for saying that. And then you move on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that not just the most ideal form of conflict, where it's like,
Right.
you're not screaming, you're not yelling, you're not feeling disconnected for days on end. You're just able to own your stuff, and it looks safe. It brings connection. It actually brings you closer. It's vulnerable.
Right.
It's open. That's what we want to help create through the Yes Project.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love that so much. So you offer virtual,
Mhm.
one-on-one sessions, in person,
Yep.
workshops. I love all of these opportunities that you're able to provide couples depending on their what level of
Totally.
comfortability they have or what works with their schedules, which is really cool. So definitely go and sign up for the workshop. We will link all of that in the show notes
Thank you.
with pricing and everything. You can sign up right then and there, the date and everything. So, yeah, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Jenna. This has
Thank you
been
so
awesome to
much.
just like chat with you about why this is so important and all the work that you're doing with the couples. It's really going to help them in the long run. And if there, was a most important episode that I've done on the podcast, this is probably one of them. And so,
That's right. That's right.
yes, we're all about lasting marriages and communication and
Absolutely.
getting the help that you need um, in your marriage before, during, and beyond. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me on. This has been so fun.
awesome.
I'm always
Thanks
happy
so
to
much.
answer any questions, for any listener, or, I know you'll link my email and website and all that good stuff. And I'm
Hmm.
always happy to answer questions. And like I said, this is the goal is to help be prepared and not shuffling on the back end. Right.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. Have
Yes.
a good
Thank
one.
you. Thanks, you too.
All right. Bye. There you have it, another episode of the Wedding Reporter podcast. To see those gorgeous wedding and engagement photos, head over to NashvilleBrideGuide.com for more behind the scenes content. And if you like this episode, I would so appreciate it if you would rate and subscribe the show. See you next time for another great episode.